In this video, what we're going to be doing is looking at some of the recent news and happenings around Fallout 76, which is actually quite a bit. We just saw a new update today, and from that we actually have quite a bit in the way of fairly interesting data mines. New content that may drop with Wastelanders, but some others may actually fill in the void in between now and that release date. Even further, there's a few other exploits and other interesting things going on in game. Even though we got an update today, there are several things unreported in that update. And beyond all of that, towards the end of this video, I do want to give you a kind of Pax East survival guide, what exactly you should expect from this based on some of the information I have right now, as well as what exactly I'll be covering as I am fortunately attending Pax East and playing Wastelanders this year. If you guys enjoy the content, you can leave a like or subscribe, but otherwise, starting things off, let's first take a look at the new update for Fallout 76. It's actually been a while since our last update, roughly 6 weeks in between this one and the previous one. And although that's definitely not the widest gap in updates, it's pretty close. But what this update brought to the table was honestly not much. Bethesda cautioned that this would be a smaller update, and well, they were right. They definitely weren't trying to downplay something major. Although with that said, it definitely did bring some crucial fixes into the fray. There were several bug fixes around crashing, several of which were actually console specific, so if you have been having issues on that platform, you may notice something different. Although, actually, as I was filming this video, I did have a crash of my own, so it's definitely not perfect. But also, one of the long-withstanding exploits was patched out, that with the unlimited script exploit. If you're an active player of Fallout 76, the legendary purveyor, you may have noticed that, hey, all of a sudden when you go there, there's a bunch of weapons. This is basically people abusing the legendary script exploit, and yes, you could actually buy those weapons and see their exact descriptions. Without going too in-depth, you were basically able to sell unlimited weapons to the purveyor, which you typically can't do. Typically you have to redeem them at the script machine right outside the door. But again, now that has been fixed, so the purveyor no longer has any script to sell any weapons. Although even further, something I actually missed last week with the hotfix update we saw, there recently has been an exploit where you could actually buy legendary purveyor items with caps, so you get that mystery box as many times as you want because you could have a lot more caps and they're a lot easier to obtain than legendary script. One such method was actually using the vending machines outside, which were disabled with the hotfix, kind of a band-aid fix. But with the other, more difficult method was actually to bring Graham in the area of the purveyor, and something that wasn't immediately obvious with the last hotfix, but has become so since it went live, is with that, they actually disabled Graham. So that, of course, is not a permanent solution. It's actually kind of weird how it still is going on. I somewhat expected that to be addressed with this most recent update. I was really hoping for some more permanent solutions to some of these exploits, but it doesn't seem like we really got them. Most of that content that was disabled is still disabled, although again, it is relatively minor. But something else that actually was a cool change with this update, now floors will take up less space at your camp. Bethesda basically describes this as a bug fix. Previously, floors were actually taking up more space than intended, so now they're at their appropriate values. But considering how sought after a resource camp space is nowadays, this is definitely a welcome change. Although one of the biggest things to actually get new content with this update was the Atomic Shop, or specifically Atomic Shop data mines. We did get some new in-game content around the Atomic Shop, which for a lot of people is actually pretty welcome. It's been fairly lacking in this category as of late. Some of this is cool, pretty much all of it has a sports theme. This new Stanley weapon skin for the Grognak axe is actually particularly cool, although I'm never a fan of them taking a base weapon and giving them a skin that is totally different. I don't have the concrete numbers in front of me, but thus far there have probably been 3 times as many weapon skins like this compared to actually new weapons added to Fallout 76 since release. That's a total guess or totally arbitrary based on my experience, but it's pretty common. Yet new weapons from DLCs are still fairly scarce. Although, something else that is coming to the game is actually an interesting power armor skin, or rather several. But specifically, this new one to be data mined is the Enclave power armor skin. Unfortunately, it seems like this too will be an Atomic Shop item. Although, all put together, this actually looks quite familiar. Quite similar to the Enclave power armor that we saw from Fallout 3, so I'm sure that'll be a big hit among many people. It also looks like we are getting a St. Patrick's Day themed pack or bundle, or at least several items that will very likely be bundled in some way. And just overall, this all looks really good, but it's kind of that bittersweet moment with Fallout 76. A lot of this I honestly don't think is a bad microtransaction. A lot of these are just cosmetic. They look really cool. Again, I don't really love the whole reskinning existing power armors and weapons to sell something that looks totally different. And it is unfortunate that during this content drought, we see something like a St. Patrick's Day cosmetic bundle that you could purchase, but no in-game activity or event where you could win these as free rewards. We're kind of have a 50-50 half bought, half earned. But overall, again, a lot of this content looks really cool, so it'll be interesting to see the prices on it. Something else you may notice that hopefully does get addressed at least somewhat soon, and it doesn't seem to be addressed in today's update, although Bethesda is aware of this. There's a new dupe glitch in-game that is actually fairly easy to do, and in fact doesn't actually require you to do much of anything. You can basically abuse this just through normal play, and as such I don't want to really give any details. This is currently available on all 3 platforms, and as such, you may notice some influx of items or weapons as a result, although it does require caps to do, so you have to have a good amount of caps to actually mass produce stuff, although that's not a problem for most people abusing exploits. Outside of that, looking ahead to Pax East and what exactly you can expect from it, there's a few things on the way with this. We know that new Wastelanders gameplay is confirmed. And even further, some additional details around this for those actually playing Wastelanders early, getting that hands-on. We are not able to capture footage of our hands-on, so it's not like you're going to be seeing personalized footage from me after I play, but rather we are getting provided specific B-roll from Bethesda. It's not totally clear if that'll be the same B-roll or gameplay that's shared during their panel and event or something totally separate, but if nothing else, this Friday there'll be new Wastelanders gameplay, and I have a feeling it'll be a decently long segment. This Friday I also should have my video up describing my experience playing 20 minutes or hopefully more of the DLC, as well as I'm sure several other press outlets will have interviews around the development and the future of the game, as well as there's also a panel going on this Friday where they plan to describe some of the gameplay components of Wastelanders. New gameplay will be shared, and it also seems like they may be hinting at the fact that we'll get an insight into year 2 of Fallout 76, what's to come after Wastelanders, which as of right now we otherwise know next to nothing about. So definitely stay tuned or get subscribed on this channel. Should be a very busy week for Fallout 76, or even just tune into some of these streams live and you will get an insight as to what's happening just as it gets announced. As always, again, I thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, but with that, I hope to see you all next time. Later.